Tonight, I submit to the Strixhaven Society the tale of Phyrexia. So the second story from today was this tale of Phyrexia attacking Strixhaven. It followed our 5 lead uncommon legendary creatures from last time we were at Strixhaven: Dina, Quintorius, Zimone, Rutha, and Killian, and their quest given to them by Liliana, Professor Onyx, to go find the invocation spell created by the original 5 founders of Strixhaven, the Elder Dragons, that created the school. Basically, it's a reality altering spell that, if they were able to cast it, would basically recreate the environment so as if Phyrexia had never been able to invade. And this story plays out like Stranger Things, like It. There's Jurassic Park late scenes where they're hiding in a library, like the kids were hiding in Jurassic Park in the kitchen, as all of the different completed professors are hunting them down. This is basically all I ever would want from a Strixhaven story. They play off like friends. They're all obviously different kids. There's Breakfast Club elements to it on how we're all stuck with each other and have these different personalities, but we also, are really good friends. Some of my favorite stories are just kids on an adventure of life or death that are actually a little scarier than you would expect as they try and survive something, and just nails it. As they're going through basically the underground tunnels below the school, Quintorius resurrects an old statue of a dean, and the dean's able to be like, hey, you're at the Biblioplex. If you go up, they get up there, and then they found out most of the students have been taken and all of the professors have been completed. They run into a completed Shael, Dean of Radiance, who's this very scary bird maw thing going on, and it sounds terrifying. In the middle of Shael hunting them, Killian's dad, Dean Ambrose, saves them, and it's one of the cooler fights described where he uses zinc magic in an awesome way, and I definitely recommend checking it out just to hear the descriptions of Ambrose fighting them. He's kind of a dick to the kids, including his son, being get the fuck out of here, you're a distraction, I need to fight these things and you need to go. If you stay here and fight with me, you're not going to help me, you're going to hurt me. Killian does not take that well. The students continue to kind of dodge the different extremely terrifying professors as they look for this central thing in the Biblioplex. When they do finally find it, it's this living spell that they each need to touch, basically the section of the spell that belonged to their retrospective founding dragon, Elder Dragon. So Witherbloom needed Dina, Lorehold needed Quintorius, etc. But in the midst of them casting the spell to rewrite, and as it slowly starts causing each of the portals to at least close, a completed Nasari shows up and starts firing blasts at them, forcing specifically Rutha to abandon her part of the spell. This causes the spell to start faltering, and Rutha and Nasari are fighting, and Quintorius, to make up for her loss, grabs a hold of her section of the spell, and instead of just using his connection to Lorehold, starts just putting his own personal magic into the spell. This does play into my theory that Quintorius, because we know he was expelled from a different school previously, the military academy, that Quintorius was a blue-white mage originally, and his sense of adventure didn't work with the blue-white needing to be a military, and that there's maybe a aligned faction military school somewhere on the plane. But regardless, Quintorius grabs a hold of Rutha's section of the spell and puts his magic into it. This works to finish the spell mostly. It's pretty destructive. Most of the Phyrexian professors are very damaged, but they're not erased from reality, and it is able to close the portals, though there's definitely hints that they're trying to force their way back in. But it definitely buys all of the remaining students, professors, Liliana, Casmina, etc. time. But in the process of grabbing onto Rutha's experience and using all of his magic, one very key thing I think is the most important long-term moment within this moment of the story is Quintorius's spark ignites. There's a point that Liliana later on in the story, when all the students get back and describe what happened here, that Casmina told her that one of these 5 students had the spark inside him. It does play in the fact that Casmina has the ability to see sparks in students, or at least can sense them, and is doing something around the lines of trying to ignite more Planeswalker sparks, but Quintorius spark ignites. Quintorius is now a Planeswalker. It's not 100% confirmed, but I don't know how to confirm that more than we got. First off, this is amazing to me. A, Quintorius is one of my favorite Strixhaven characters. B, he's an Indiana Jones elephant red-white mage with architecture powers that make statues come to life. Just so sick. There's like a conversation on like, will he be Jeskai aligned? Because as his spark ignited, he was aligning himself both with Lorehold magic as well as Prismari, red blue magic. So he has like red, blue, and white. I think that the goal of Quintorius somewhat coming back is they wanted a red-white aligned hero character, with Nahiri now becoming completed and Ajani also becoming completed and having not been red-white for a while. Quintorius is a great example of that. Plus, he plays in a different space than like equipment and aggression. He's like a graveyard themed, removing and putting stuff in, making spirit tokens, etc. And just is like best boy. I fucking love Quintorius. As the story ends and the students all kind of make their way back to Professor Onyx, she makes a comment that like Simone's arm's broken. Dina, who like hypercharged her magic, combining her magic with Simone, like had life magic exude out of every one of her pores, is like bruised and bloody all over. They're all, you know, wounded, get back though alive, and she like has the students start helping to heal them. At the same time, we also see that Killian's dad is alive as well, and was like, is pretty battered, but was like able to handle all of the other things. And it was one of those like, I think I look bad, you should see the other guys, as he like used ink magic to just wreck a bunch of them. Another thing I liked about the story, beyond just like kids going on a fun adventure, was just the aspects of all of their magic working. It's cool how all of them worked together and combined their magic together as well as fought individually. Killian did a lot of like support light magic along with the ink magic that he was using. Simone combining her powers with Dina's like life matter. Dina would just sacrifice pests that she had in her backpack to create like moss on the floor, making it slippery, hard to follow them. Quintorius resurrecting statues, and Rutha kind of being just like a fire ice mage fighting things and created an ice shield to protect them as they're casting spells. All was really cool. We know that all of the professors, or not all of them, but the majority of professors were completed, but the only deans we got confirmation on completion were Nasari and Shael, who the backside of Shael, I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, is Embrose. So I'm not even sure I can say the other Prismari dean was who was completed. So I don't know everyone. We don't know if all the deans were completed. It was pretty specifically stated when deans were versus professors and the differentiation between the two. So I'm not gonna in my soon to be posted recorded video of in memoriam, I'll only include the deans that we got confirmations on and maybe the professors in general. But I would love to hear your guesses in the comments on which of the deans are no longer on our side and which ones made it. Who are the ones that are alive? I'm hoping personally that Plarg made it. I love Plarg. Please, Plarg, don't be completed.